I'll say, let's lock in this shape. Let's lock in this line. And you'll see me darkening in those lines and shapes. Follow suit, and by the end of it, you're going to have a wonderful drawing of a very special character that we just started drawing in here in celebration of the 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney Company. Yay! And we're going to be going back to the 1940s. I'm going to put you in the shoes of the animators, and we're going to draw Dumbo.
Ooh, Dumbo. All right, Dumbo's cool.
Yes,
all right, cool. Dumbo.
All right, everybody, light and loose. When you draw circles, or this shape that we're about to draw, which is a big oval, you want to draw very lightly and lock your wrist and elbow and let your shoulders do the movement, okay? An oval right in the middle of your page. Very lightly, I'm just going to butterfly kiss that paper, as I always like to say, a term I got from the great Disney animator Glenn Keane when he was talking about his hero, Frank Thomas. Another great Disney animator. There we go. I'm just going to get that sketched in there several times, 5 or 6 times, because I'm like you. I cannot draw a perfect circle or a square or a triangle, so I make several that I can kind of pick and choose the lines from, and I will, and then I'll build on those good lines and let the other things just kind of fade into the background. Now I'm putting the guideline straight through the middle of that big potato from top to bottom. And we're going to put down another guideline going across in just a minute. And what these guidelines are for is they're a map. They're going to help us find out where this character's eyes, nose, and everything goes. I should have said trunk. Let's go up about a quarter of the way up from the bottom. Let's see, halfway would be here. I'm going to go maybe a little less than a quarter of the way and cross this way, this line. I'm also going to put another guideline just under the top of his head right here. Now where I'm going to have to commit here, there. And I'm going to bring a line across this way, okay? And I want it to be pretty even on both sides. Come over to measure. This side maybe a little bit longer. Firm this one up. We'll come back to that in just a little while. Right here now, in this bottom little section of our oval, draw in a nice circle that goes from that crossing guideline to the bottom of that oval. Keep it very light, just dark enough to see, not so dark that it's going to be obtrusive and get in the way. All right? Now then, we need, this is where his trunk is going to emulate from, but we need to get his cheeks into place. So over here, I'm going to kind of firm up the lines that I like to give you a really clear-cut view of what I'm going for here. Okay, head over here to this side, and we're going to go just above that crossing guideline and bring down a little parenthesis like this. Okay, now I'm kind of even with the bottom of my original oval. And on this side as well, it kind of starts right there where the oval meets that crossing guideline and comes down. Join those two together. And I'm not going down very far. I'm still staying pretty close to that circle there. You don't want to bring this down and make this wide. These are just his cheeks. In fact, I'm going to kind of firm those up. And I'm going to leave this line, this little connector, light and loose for the moment. Now we can start working on that trunk. Let's go to the top of our circle, and I'm just going to build up and lock in just a little curve at the top of it. Okay? And I'm going to add 2 more. We call these snout lines. I guess that it still works for an elephant. We call these snout lines. They help us to see that a character's nose is coming out towards us a little ways. And to get the trunk into place, we're going to start over here on the left side of our circle. I'm going to go just a little bit below where this line ends. So right about here, and I'm going to follow the circle. And as I get down here to the bottom of my oval, I'm going to bring it out like a little letter S, right? A little stretched out S curve there. Grab onto this side now in about the same place, just a little bit below that top snout line. We're going to bring this one down and across and get close to it. See now how I brought this line down? Look how close I am to the bottom of that S we just drew. This is important. I'm going to grab on and bring that trunk around like this. And I'm going to go ahead and lock all of these lines in. These are keepers. They're here to stay. Excellent. I can go ahead now and lock in his cheek, so I'll go ahead and do that. I'll tell you a little bit about this wonderful, wonderful character. It started out as a little storybook that some of the story people at the Disney studios came across. It was kind of a novelty item of this little story about an elephant that learned how to fly. His mentor in that story was a little bird. And so, as you probably know, when they started making the movie, they said, let's make that bird a mouse, because there's an old wives' tale that elephants are very afraid of mice, and we can kind of play on this. By the way, that mouse's name is Timothy. Do you realize they never say his name in that film out loud? They never say Timothy out loud. Nobody ever speaks to him. Dumbo doesn't actually speak. But at the end of the film, when Dumbo, redeems himself, you see a newspaper headline that says, Manager Timothy Q. Mouse signs great big deal, or something like this, and that's the only time you get his name in the film. It's a wonderful, wonderful character. Love Timothy. Okie doke. Let's go ahead and draw in his smile, and it's super simple. To show his smile, I'm just going to go here, just underneath that crossing guideline. I'm going to add a little curve, little hill here. These are called smile lines, right? So that just shows that he is smiling, and it's pushing up his cheeks a little bit there. Right above that, we can go ahead and sketch in where his eyes are going to go. They're going to go on that crossing guideline, pretty close to either side of his head. And small children and babies always have great big eyes full of wonder. So I'm going to make these a pretty good size here. There's a good distance between them. But I'm thinking about that size, just about that far in from the side of his head, here and here. I'm going to leave that alone for a sec. Well, maybe I won't leave it alone. Let's go ahead and lock those shapes in, and then we'll put in his pupils as well. There we are. I think that this is a great example of how Walt Disney was I'm trying to say that Walt did not shy away from the tough moments in his films. If people talk about Disney as being kind of cute, lots of cute animals with great big eyes like the ones we're drawing right now. But when it came time to make a point, Walt Disney went there. And one of the most heartbreaking scenes, I think, not in just in animated films or in Disney films, is in this film, where Dumbo has to go visit his mother who's been locked up. I don't know how you can get through that without just falling to pieces. They did a little play on that in a film he made that wasn't very successful for him, called 1941. And in that story, a military general, is overwhelmed with his work, and he decides he's going to get away and go see a movie, and he wants to go see Dumbo. And you see him sitting there in the theater watching that scene and tearing up. This really tough as nails guy. And I thought, that's wonderful. And I think that was Spielberg's way of saying, this stuff was the stuff that really got to me when I was a kid. Right here, we're going to put his pupils. Love that moment. There we go. Let's go ahead and you can see I'm just rolling my pencil around. I don't want to come up against the side and just draw a half a circle. I want to draw in that very complete oval. This is a good general rule. You end up getting characters that look cross-eyed if you don't draw that complete shape. So don't make that mistake. I do the giggles. Okay. We'll give him a little glimmer in his eye. Just a little white circle. It seems so simple, but it says so much. When you darken in around it, look what happens. It just, suddenly he's alive. I just think it's so wonderful. All right, he's got just the baby eyelashes. 3 little flicks of the pencil over here on this side. 3 over here. The one in the middle should be a little longer than the 2 above and below it. And now we're ready to get those ears into place. Those great big ears that are going to carry you up and up and up. All right. Channeling my inner Timothy right now. I'm going to go just below this guideline right here And I'm going to come out and go up above it. Look how far I'm coming out. These ears are big, right? That's what it's all about. And as I come out, I'm going to go to pretty much the end of my line here. I'm going to stop right there, all right? Now I'm going to go down to his cheek, and I'm going to bring up a big outstretched letter S that goes from here to there. There we go. I would like to kind of round off that tip. I don't want it to be a point there. You want to avoid sharp points on wonderful, adorable characters. That's good stuff for Maleficent and Cruella, but not for Dumbo. There we go. I also love to talk about the voice people that have worked on these films. And way back in the early days of Walt Disney, Walt was already relying on one of his, a man that would become an absolute Disney legend eventually. His name was Sterling Holloway. And in this film, he is Mr. Stork, but he went on to be the voice of Winnie the Pooh. He is the Cheshire Cat, and he is Kaa the Snake in the Jungle Book. Walt Disney treasured Sterling Holloway and used him again and again in his films. True Disney legend. I'm going to lock in the side of his face over on this side. I'm not quite done with that ear yet. I want to go back down here just a little bit below the top of it. I'm going to bring a curved line out and across and come to a point there. So we got kind of an inside line. Let's jump over here now and work on this ear. Let's see if we can match it. Okay, we start here, we go out and up. I'm pretty much even with the top of his head with this hill here. And then bring it down. Pretty even. And then we'll go back down to his cheek just like we did on the other side. And we'll draw that outstretched letter S coming up to it. Looks pretty good. Round that off and lock all of this in. There we go. There we are. This was a very interesting time, the 1940s for Walt Disney. He had great success with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but then he started to really push the boundaries of animation. And he was successful artistically, but not financially all the time. Fantasia did not make money in its initial release, neither did Bambi. But this film, this little film, did. It was a kind of a scale back for him, and he did very well with it. And then during the war years, he produced a lot of short films. Let's draw that inner curve, going from about here out to the tip there. There we are. That nice and locked in as well. Now, just off to the side of his ears here, I'm going to add two little lines, two little curves for eyebrows for Dumbo. Right there and right there. And give him that cute little clown hat that he is made to wear too. Right here. Let's go right to the top and draw a curve here. And then keep it light and loose for a moment. You're going to go up and then bring down this hat. It kind of reminds me of the Seven Dwarfs hat. It kind of flops over on the top. Now I kept it light and loose because I want to add a little rim to it. And I'll draw in two curves, one right below the other one. And then round off the ends like this. There we go. Let's get that all locked in now. There we are. Okay. This film has been a great favorite and a great inspiration on other animators through the years who would come along and make some of the greater Disney animated films of recent years, like John Lasseter, the man that founded Pixar, says that Dumbo is his all-time favorite Disney film, and that's worth noting. Okay, he is forced to be a clown, and so he has that clown collar. I'm going to go kind of break through this line here I did at the bottom of his ear here just a little bit. And I'm going to draw in these two little outward curves here. Go right under his trunk, right in the center. Can you still see that center guideline? Put a little bump down there, right below his trunk, very close to it. And then we're going to put two more bumps right here, right here and right here. And then we're going to join all of this together to create that clownish collar that he is forced to wear along with that hat. And they make him be a clown. He shows them. There we go. During the war years, they even made reference at the end of this film about that tumultuous time in that montage you see at the end where he becomes heroic. There's a newspaper headline about the military developing these special airplanes for the war effort, kind of based on Dumbo. They were called Dumb Bombers or something like that. It's just like, wow, you look at it, it's a real picture of that time, which is amazing. I'm going to add an inner line to those curves. And once we've done that, we have finished our drawing of one of the cutest characters, I think, could ever come out of a Disney film. One of the most endearing, too. Little Dumbo. Oh, look at him. I'm going to kind of go back over these and lock them up a little bit. Last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and sign my Dumbo right over here. All right, how did everybody do? Good, pretty good. Oh my goodness.
I felt really